Welcome back, loyal fight fans. Another quick episode of unboxing on the go this time. We're going to touch on the Jose Pedraza versus Richard Commey card, talk about a bit of the undercard in like a little bit of a short fashion here. We'll have another short coming up, little short episode later on this weekend, followed by also a new episode of Unknown to Casuals. So definitely be on the lookout for that on this channel. But jumping right into things, F.A. Jogba on this undercard basically fought, what looked like an amateur boxer. An absolute, just not competitive fight. You know what it looked like? It looked a little bit like, if you guys have seen any of the highlights of all the dumb shit of the YouTube boxing on DAZN with the fucking KSI and looked like that a little bit. That was an absolute shit show that we will not talk about on this channel. And then there was, Jared Anderson. Jared Anderson showed out again, as expected. We had Richard Torres commit a murder in the first round on this undercard, or on this card rather, which is fantastic. Richard Torres, a true talent, another guy that might make the Unknown to Casuals episode at some point. He's a character, a fun guy, always smiling, and then he just goes out there with vicious intent, vicious look on his face, and literally just looks as if he assaults people in the fucking ring. I like that guy a lot. Very nice guy, very smart guy outside of the ring as well. So a true bit of a unicorn and a character in boxing is how I would describe Richard Torres. And then we had, of course, Jose Pedraza versus Richard Commey. So this fight was a very good fight, I thought. There's been a lot of talk back and forth. I have heard equally both ways. This fight was a draw, by the way. And I've heard both sides that Commey should have won this fight or Pedraza should have won this fight. The way that I did score this fight, you guys know that I like to go against the boxing judges and just make some conflict here on the channel a little when I can. But also, another thing we've said on this channel before is that there's a rule to fans that watch boxing, and if you become more than a casual fan, you start to watch every week, there is a rule that you will inevitably fight it as you will. Inevitably, you will take on this rule. Close fights, you cannot be mad about it going one direction or the other. And the only thing worth talking about would be ridiculous judge scorecards. But the outcome in a close fight, going one way or the other, you basically, in an extremely close fight, you can't be mad about that. It's kind of an unspoken rule. This fight was a draw. I scored it a draw. And basically, it's kind of simple. The way I saw the fight originally is Commey took over a lot of those early rounds, literally about the first whole half of the fight. I thought that he might have scraped out one of the later rounds. And I forget if it was round 7 or round 8. It was one of those. But 10 was very close as well. So I'm not mad at people that say Commey should have won the fight. But this isn't the one where you want to really debate that so much. It's perfect little stat that I saw. Really always tells you, man, even for avid boxing fans, hardcore fans that watch every single weekend, that know how to score fights. When I first watched the fight, I thought, of course, Pedraza, I was giving him a lot of those later half of the rounds. That's why I didn't have a problem with the draw, even upon first glance. But I thought from watching the fight, Commey should have outlanded Pedraza, I believed. But you score it round by round. Turns out, I saw some punch stats there that said that Pedraza outlanded Commey. Also, Pedraza obviously going to the body a lot. He scored 46% of his body shots, which is real kind of almost unheard of stuff. That's about as high as a percentage as you will see. There is never, for people that don't know, you might think, oh, great boxer, these people score 90% or so. There is no such thing as that. 46% or anything close to half of any punch thrown scored is a fantastic stat. And yeah, so I did not have a problem with the draw, basically. Also, the last note on this fight that I would have to say is that I thought that this was a win-win draw. In regards to, if you get a draw, either it's a bad draw where somebody clearly should have won because the fight really wasn't that close. That wasn't this case. Sometimes you get a draw even if it should be a draw or a close fight. It's boring and there's not a lot of punches thrown. That's a lose-lose situation for both fighters. I thought that both these fighters coming off of losses, Pedraza coming off of the Jose Ramirez loss, which I thought he did, which I thought that fight was a lot closer, and that fight could have been a draw. But regardless, coming off that loss, said that he wanted to throw more punches, get away from that, even though he's Puerto Rican, the so-called kind of Cuban disease of being a good defensive fighter but not throwing enough punches. He said he wanted to let his hands go in this fight. I thought he did just that. And Richard Commey coming off of a brutal loss, you know, to Lomachenko, where he was just schooled and owned, didn't win a single round in that fight, and was dropped numerous times. He really needed a show-out performance moving up in weight to 140, and I thought that Richard Commey looked better than I've maybe ever seen him look, and he's a former world champion. I think this is his weight class. I can't wait to see Richard Commey fight again, and I did not think that Pedraza lost any credit. I thought he was looking, you know, like Commey was handedly running away with this fight, and Pedraza came back super hard in the second half of this fight, winning back round after round after round. So I thought this was a win-win draw. And that's what I have to say about the fight. Check out, we're going to have something coming up on the channel about the, just a quick one like this, busy schedule this week, to touch on the Andy Ruiz fight that is coming up. We will also have the unknown to casuals to check out, and possibly, I'm thinking about this, don't quote me, possibly on that Andy Ruiz one, we might also we'll touch on that fight, versus Ortiz, and possibly do a bit of a heavyweight rankings for you guys.